So if you wanted to, just allowing your eyes to close. As I was saying, the practice will be about 15-20 minutes. And as a gentle reminder, there will be parts I'm going to ask you about visualizing things, and it doesn't need to be the perfect visualization for yourself. It's just sort of imagining that you could give the same warmth that's received. So just arriving, taking those few minutes just to sort of, absolutely, some of you will probably feel like you're wanting to go back into sleep again. But just taking a couple of breaths. And checking in on your posture. Are you comfortable? And it's just about noticing that we're breathing, noticing that quality of our breath. Maybe as we're bringing all of that focus inwards, we're realizing just how tired we are. And just accepting that. We're just going to gently move our focus through our body. Again, not with the thought of trying to relax anything in particular. We're just noticing different types of sensations before we move into the compassionate practice. I suppose this is a form of self-compassion anyway, this bodily awareness, but if we're just starting with our breath at the moment, and then we want you to come just gently bringing your focus up towards the forehead and the top of the head. Even just bringing that further round to the back of our heads. And into the neck and the shoulders. Just looking for sensations, that's all we're doing. Not trying to get anything in particular out of the practice. And from the shoulders down into the elbows. And the elbows into the wrists and hands. Then just gently bringing our focus back up into our elbows again. And our shoulders. And all we're doing, just calming the system down. We're just, by doing these types of practices, particularly if you've repeated things like this a few times, it's like getting into the program, getting into the meditation program as we sort of, brain just begins to know as we begin to harness this sort of inner attention. Nose begins to sort of unconsciously have this expectation that we're meditating. We're just allowing our system just to calm down. Doesn't matter if we're overthinking things or underthinking things. Let's move down towards our hips. Just noticing the sensations in hips. Even further down into our knees. And our ankles, our feet and toes, just noticing what sensations are there. And back into our knees again. And hips. And just round in front of our heart area. And into the throat and the mouth and the jaw. And gently onto the breath again. Now, this particular meditation is one from the Theravada Buddhist tradition. It's one that Ajahn Brahm offers. So it will seem a little bit different at the start. Some of you may remember maybe a couple of practices that I did like this originally, but I just wanted to sort of share it again. And it always starts this sort of a heart-opening part when we do these practices in compassion. He sort of wants to really tweak your heartstrings. And whilst you can often use a sense and really get the imagination firing, he gets to really draw your focus down into your heart, which is really where this loving kindness. So from here, all I want you to imagine like you're in the part of town. It's a little bit dark and dingy. And I want you to imagine you're just walking down this street, and as you look down one of the side roads, there's this small animal. I don't know if you're a cat person, it's maybe a little baby cat. Or if you're a dog person, maybe it's a baby dog. This really young, I'm a dog person, so I'm going to use a puppy. But I want you to imagine just down this street is this baby, this puppy dog. And as you begin to walk towards this small, really small, helpless, frightened creature, you realize that it's undernourished, it hasn't been looked after. It's cold and scared. That this small animal has been left out in the cold. I want you to imagine what it would feel like to try and get a little bit of warmth towards this animal. That at the start, as you sort of kneel down and put your hand out, it automatically back away. Maybe it's been abused in the past, it doesn't trust people. And in your thoughts, I just want you to imagine as you sort of bring your focus into your heart, what you might say to this animal to get it to trust you. And you're just bringing to mind, like, what would you do if you saw this animal in front of you and all you wanted to do was just to hug it and love it and take it home with you and care for it? And if you bring some focus into your heart, what would be the words that you'd say? And I want you just to imagine like you could just gently hold your hand out, hoping that this little creature hasn't deserved the treatment that it's been given. Would hopefully come out of the corner and seek your support. Imagine from my words it would be things like, you've got nothing to fear. I just want to hold you and make you warm again and start from there. And maybe there's that sense of sorry for how it's been treated so far. I want you to imagine this animal, even with everything that has gone against it so far, comes out and allows you to pick it up. And I want you to imagine you could bring this cold and wet, and holding it close, and what that might feel like. I don't want you to go down the aggression towards the mistreatment, but more about the focus of love for this little creature. And when I do this, I like to imagine like as if this warmth, like a light, could come out of me, and as I hold it closer and closer, I begin to pat and stroke this little thing, that I would remind it that from now on, it will be loved for and cared the way it should have been from the start. That it will be fed, have a bed and warmth. And just sending this warmth and this love towards this little creature as best as you can do, just imagining that's all you're trying to do. And from here, what I want you to try and turn that same warmth, that same care, I want you to imagine you are now stood there in front of you. And here's you holding this little animal, the warmth radiating from your heart. And I want you to imagine that you could then share that same warmth with yourself. That no matter what you're going through at the moment, that everything will work out okay. And I want you to imagine that you could just, in the same way you built that trust with that little animal, that you build that trust with yourself. And I want you to come from your heart. What would you say to yourself if you could see you in front of you with whatever you're going through at the moment? Maybe it's just this reminder that everything will be okay. Just taking one breath at a time. I want you to imagine in the same way this other version of you just comes closer and takes that embrace from yourself. And you just reminded that everything will be okay. And from here, what I want you to do, I want you just to take a couple of breaths as you're just letting go of this image of you. And I want you to bring in, it could be the person that you're working with at the moment, or anyone that you know that may be struggling. I don't know if you can remember who your partner was and these practices at the start. And just remembering that, bringing them to your mind in the same way. I just want you to imagine this other person is in front of you now. And maybe they're going through difficulties that you didn't know of. Maybe they're going through frustrations. I just want you to imagine you could in the same way reminding yourself, just coming from the heart, what could you tell them? Maybe it's that same, everything will be okay. Whatever you're going through, everything will be fine. And I just want you to imagine that other person just receiving that warmth as best as you can do. And then just letting that person just move away from your thoughts. Just for the last minute or two, just noticing that you're breathing. You're not trying to control anything in particular. As you're breathing, just noticing how your heart feels. And if your heart is too heavy at the moment, just listening to the world that's around you. The birds, the trees, the movement.